These are testing times for the global economy. Yesterday, the International Monetary Fund predicted a deep global recession in the days ahead. The IMF says world growth will contract by close to 5%, and it recommends taxing the rich. Here's why.
This pandemic is
On Tuesday, IMF chief economist Gita Gopinath had some bad news.
So we continue to project a deep recession in 2020 with global growth projected to be minus 4.4%. Therefore, we see that the recovery from this catastrophic collapse will likely be long, uneven, and highly uncertain.
The global economy will fall into a deep recession this year, with the road to recovery increasingly looking uncertain. In Gita Gopinath's own words, the economic crisis triggered by the Wuhan virus will leave deep scars. Job losses, bankruptcies, mounting debt, and loss in output will lead to a loss of a whopping $28 trillion by 2025. To bounce back, the IMF recommends that the world economy must swallow the bitter pill. It wants countries with large debt levels to tax the rich. The pandemic could leave a mountain of debt behind. The pandemic response will bring debt levels of countries close to 100% of global output. Countries that can't pay back could default on their payments. Several major countries are at risk. Before the pandemic, major economies used to borrow beyond GDP levels. This includes Japan, where gross debt accounted for 235% of the GDP in 2017. By 2018, Italy's debt accounted for 132% of its GDP. America's debt accounted for 104% of its GDP. France, 98%, Canada, 90%, and the UK, 87%. The IMF says governments with high debt should consider raising taxes on the affluent, taxing purchases of high-end property, and taxes on capital gains and wealth.
Now, this is the worst crisis since the Great Depression, and it will take significant innovation on the policy front at both at the national level and at the international level to recover from this great lockdown. The challenges are daunting, but there are reasons to be hopeful.
The IMF projects that China will be the only global economy to register some growth this year, and all major emerging economies are expected to contract. India is expected to face its worst contraction on record by more than 10%. The IMF wants governments to limit the bleeding by cash transfers, wage subsidies, and unemployment insurance. But the question is, where will the money for that come from? While it cannot be the only solution, higher tax rates for the rich might be inevitable if governments around the world run short of ways to raise more cash. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Thank you for watching Gravitas on WION's YouTube channel. If you want to stay up to date with what's happening around the world, then subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like and share. Thank you very much for watching WION, World is One.